gold settled in, the pay streak is on the outside bend of the river.
Right.
That's where this mine goes into. So the beach area, although it's on the inside, was just so shallow and was flooded only occasionally that nothing really ever happened to it. Well, anyway, they worked over there starving to death. They dug a tunnel. It was too high and went just into nothing but tumbled down lava bowls. You can see that across the creek from the mine.
That's what all those, that's tumbled down.
And there's water coming out of it.
Okay.
It's the water from the two tunnels that they dug that I know of. Well, the two different areas.
I wondered how all that, it's all consistent, it's all the same
It's
rock.
all lava.
Yeah.
And that's to the west, across the ravine.
Yeah, across
Right.
the ravine.
Yeah.
You see that.
Right.
If you go up the creek, now this is not a good year for it because it's so damn dry this last winter. But there's always water, and you combine the water from your mine with that water, and that, even though it doesn't list as the headwaters of Jim Crow Canyon, that supplies most of the water from where the headwater comes in from the west. And it's just a spring that does it. It runs all year round. Well, so does the water out of my tunnel, or your tunnel. Anyway, so they really were starving to death. I mean, the stuff that they could afford to buy was the dirt cheap rock gut stuff. But
So, because the tunnel runs due east.
No, but he's in his story. He's still across the ravine. Okay.
yeah, so anyway, they were over there and they didn't. So they finally moved across. Now, you have to remember that all the stuff that you see there at your mine, like the portal and all that stuff, was not visible at all to them. This was covered thinly, but covered over with andesite, lava. And there wasn't but that was the last place they had. Well, what they did was they went across there, went over to the east side, started poking around. Well, in late 1859, 58, early 59, you see, they'd been there for 5 or 6 years without making any money. They never found a gut. They never found hardly any gold at all. Well, what happened is they found a high bench. It showed them there was good gold there. And they followed the high bench. Well, as soon as the river started to turn a little bit, that bench was pinched off. There was nothing much there. They went down a little bit farther, and eventually they found another bench. And they started to run a tunnel. This tunnel worked out pretty good. The other tunnel, it was just into the bench. And it's not, what little piece of it's left is collapsed. It's been washed away on both ends.
And that's
It's
to
very
the
short. That's
and
up
that
high.
oh, it's still up high. It's above the parking area for the ATV.
Oh yeah, it's way up there on the edge of the hill. That's
Okay.
where they were.
Okay.
And it's at the edge of the lava cliff. What you see is the lava cliff. That's been in place. It's only the talus slope that's moved.
Okay.
And it's even above the talus slope start because it's off to the edge. So they came down farther, and right just a little bit below the shaft building, there's just the slightest little evidence of tunnel number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And they punched into that, got into the gravel of the main channel, but it was so high that, and of course, the mine runs the wrong way. It runs downstream.
Yeah.
But since no one's ever been able to find out exactly where it comes out,
Yeah.
this is the only choice they had. Well, so they built the tunnel that you've got, that you go in and out. That's the lowest tunnel up high.
Yeah.
It's the lowest tunnel, and it's the last one they did there is tunnel number 3. That got them into the gravel at a little bit lower, but it didn't take them long to realize that it's also way too high. The river's dropping away, and you can't, I don't know of anybody that ever figured out the fall, but the average of all the gravel channels in this general part of the country, that they're running between 4,500 feet and 5,000, 5,500 feet elevation. That's where most of the channels are in Sierra County. When you go into Plumas, they're much higher because you're getting nearer to the headwaters of the streams. So they made enough money that they could afford to do what they did, and they did it as fast as they could. They dropped down. Got the figure now. About 60 feet maybe an elevation. And they ran a tunnel down there. You can't, I know I know how to find the tunnel. It's just a little bit dangerous to expose it because it's 1,300 feet long. It just goes through barren slate. There's no gold in it. And 1,300 feet in the smallest tunnel that they could possibly use it's a works tunnel to bring the material out because they found the channel inside and went up on the channel. Well, all the water that's draining out of that channel, and that's what stopped them before and stopped them eventually afterwards. In the height of the time when they were in there, the water that tunnel was making was coming out of the roof, all percolating through 300 and 400 feet thick andesite lava flows. Would probably fill a 4 to 5 inch pipe full every single 24 hours. Run constantly.
But that tunnel may still be there.
The lower tunnel was opened, as far as some of the things I've heard. The lower tunnel that was their works tunnel that they came back and forth with and washed their gravel and whatever.
That's the one where you see the rust coming out down by the creek.
Down by the creek.
Where you can see the rust stains coming out of a little.
Where the water comes out.
Yeah.
The actual tunnel is all the way up. It's 150 linear feet.
That's where you made the.
That's on top of that, but the water's always managed to find its way out and pop out because that's the bedrock right there.
Yeah.
And it runs on the bedrock.
And that's where you made that false dig. That's where you started digging down. You tried to access that one at one point.
We tried to find our way in. We excavated early on, but we didn't find anything.
Yeah.
All that summer got for us was to, Rich and I now know where it is. Where the
Yeah, you just missed it by a couple of trees, right? That from your pit.
The trees are all growing in the water.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's impossible for two guys working by themselves. You can't excavate that at all. And you need to be careful, and you can't be careful. We did sink a pit down in behind the trees, and that went down 11 feet. That's as far as we could dig a pit. I mean, it's just a hole in the ground. That's all it is. And we never got to the bottom of the talus.
Yeah, let's see.
The debris.
Well,
Some of this is from the mine, but most of it is just slate.
are there any clues where the third tunnel, the one we're working, goes or does or?
Oh yeah, that's the one you're following now. And that's followable only because they never pulled up the rail, they just abandoned it. Now, when they decided to punch this 1,300-foot tunnel to the slate, they went down to the creek as close as they could get and still have an operation that would work. You've got to have some place to dispose of your tailings, so you can't be right at the edge of the creek.
Right.
You can't do too much with that creek either because there's a lot of irate miners that have claims downstream from you. That was back in the old days when the arguments were settled with a gun.
Oh yeah.
So, they had to make some changes. They couldn't tail off down that ravine that's right below the mine because they're down there working. There's a blacksmith shop was constructed down there, and they were using hand steel to punch their way through the tunnel. And sometimes they would run into bands of that super hard slate that's in this S-bend inside the tunnel that's there now. It's opalized. It is so hard, you can replace it